Hi, fellow believers in Christ. I just wanted to share some neat things with you that the Lord's been kind of showing me. And, Christmas is coming up, and I watched a video on YouTube, and it was about how in 5 BC, the Chinese people recorded a comet that they saw that kind of matches the description of the Star of Bethlehem. And so I just did some more research on it. And I guess the consensus is among a lot of researchers that the journey of the wise men or the magi um, was actually incited by 3 different stars that appeared in the sky, all in succession, not at the same time. So in this article by C.J. Humphreys, written in 1991, says the Quarterly Journal of Royal Astronomical Society is where he wrote his article. Um, anyway, you can read here in the paragraph. It says, astronomical and historical evidence suggests that the Star of Bethlehem was a comet which was visible in 5 BC and described in ancient Chinese records. A comet uniquely fits the description in Matthew of a star which newly appeared, traveled slowly through the sky against the star background, and stood over Bethlehem. It is proposed that a remarkable sequence of 3 astronomical events stimulated the journey of the Magi. The triple conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in 7 BC was the first thing that they saw. Then the massing of the 3 planets, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars, in 6 BC. And then finally, the appearance in 5 BC of the Star of Bethlehem, a comet initially in Capricornus. So anyway, I just thought that was really precious. And I found this other website where they go into great detail here as well. And in this section of the website, it focuses on that comet that lasted for more than 70 days, which I think is an interesting number because the ministry of Christ was 70 weeks. In churches, they teach it was 3.5 years, but it was actually 70 weeks. And 70 is a godly number. And by the way, there's a lot of sevens in my birthday, and I just really like that. I think that's really cool, and because it reminds me of the Lord. So anyway, they go into great detail here, and they describe how it wasn't technically a comet, but that doesn't really matter. The thing is, there was a star that led the Magi to Bethlehem, and it did move, and they did see it above them and ahead of them as they traveled. I'm not sure exactly what direction they were traveling as they came to Bethlehem. I think they might have been traveling south. I'm not sure if it was south or a different direction, but they originally came from the east. But from the time they saw the comet, they were traveling. I think it was south. But anyway, it's just really neat how people have been doing research on this for years, and they've found what probably happened that the Bible describes. And you have to keep in mind that I don't know if it was Luke or one of the other Gospels where they talk about the star, but that apostle was not a scientist. He was just an apostle. So the way he describes it is as if the whole thing is one star, which it could have been, or it could have been what these researchers have come up with, which is a series of 3 stars. But nevertheless, it's just really special. And then another thing the Lord's been showing me, what originated all this was that I found out that ancient Chinese people were probably worshiping the one true God. And they knew who the one true God was, and that Buddhism and Confucianism didn't come around until very shortly before the birth of Christ, like within 100 years of the birth of Christ. But all those other thousands of years before Confucian and all that, they were actually worshiping the one true God. There's a lot of evidence that they were, and by their own records. And also, Hinduism, which is popular in China, isn't even a Chinese religion. It's from India and it migrated over to China. So Confucianism is Chinese, and so is, I guess, Buddhism is either Chinese or very closely related, but those religions are very young religions. The original religion of the Chinese people, as far that goes back in their history, closely resembles the belief system of the Israelites in the Bible. So I just think that's really beautiful. And I wanted to share this movie with you too. You can watch it on YouTube for free, or you can go to this church's website and watch it. And it's called The Pilgrim's Progress. And I watched it and I loved it. I loved it completely. And I'm not a movie person because I stopped watching movies when I became born again. So now if I do watch a movie, it's not for entertainment. It's always for instruction. There's very, very few Christian movies I will watch, and I don't watch any of the fiction Christian movies that are for entertainment. I don't touch those things. But this actually is fiction technically because it's an allegory. It's based on the book of The Pilgrim's Progress, which is an allegory. But it's really not fiction because the allegory Pilgrim's Progress describes how Christians get saved and follow the way of Jesus Christ and make their way to heaven. So it's instructional as well. It's actually nonfiction disguised as allegory. It's actually a big sermon. Pilgrim's Progress is just one huge sermon in allegory form. And, Jesus, he told many parables, so Jesus spoke in allegory as well. So allegory is something that God uses to instruct us. So anyway, the movie, I'm not a movie fan at all. Like I say, I don't watch movies. I don't like Hollywood stuff. I don't like anything that's made just for entertainment, including Christian movies, almost all the Christian movies. But this one was really amazing. It's true to the gospel, true to the book, and so well done. And it's filmed in beautiful Southern Oregon. And they, at the end of the film, they say filmed in the state of Jefferson, which, if you know U.S. history, the state of Jefferson is still alive. It's kind of in between Oregon and California, and it's not a legal state. Like the Union doesn't recognize the state of Jefferson, but the state of Jefferson is. Well, you'll read up on it yourself if you want to know what it is. But it is a real place. It's just not recognized by the federal government. So anyway, that's where the film was filmed, and it's gorgeous. And I kept looking for poison oak in the film, and I couldn't see anywhere up close. It might have been in the background, but they had no up close poison oak, which that area has a lot of poison oak, but I didn't see any of it in the movie. And the music isn't my style of music, but it was so well done that I enjoyed every single song, because the words were scriptural and it was so well done. The acting was excellent, every bit as good as anything Hollywood could put out. And I liked the fact that the actors didn't wear makeup, to cover all their facial blemishes. They just showed their true faces. That made it even more realistic to me. Instead of having everybody with makeup on. It was to me, it was a flawless movie. I just can't tell you how great it was. And I'm so proud of those people for making it. This church is called, the church that made it, all the acting was volunteer, and the singing and everything, the score, it was all volunteer. The money, it was like $5,000 budget, and you don't see the name of the church here on this page, but I can't remember the name of the church, but it's a church in Southern Oregon, and I'm really proud of them. And because that's where I used to live, and there's a lot of hippie culture in that area, and I really hate hippie culture, and you can tell in the movie there's a lot of hippies, but they love the Lord, and it's just amazing. And the actors they used a lot of them are Shakespearean actors, because in Southern Oregon, they have a huge Shakespearean festival. And so it's very famous. And so you can tell some of the actors from the Shakespearean festival are actually in this movie. And they did a superb job. I mean, nobody could have done better. So I just wanted to encourage you that you can buy the movie for $15 and give it to people, or give it to your church to have your church play it, or you can just watch it for free either on YouTube or at this website, pilgrimsprogressfilm.com. And anyway, I just wanted to share that. And then another thing, just because Christmas is coming up, I haven't been practicing, so this might sound terrible, but I'm going to sing my all-time favorite Christmas carol. And this is my just absolute favorite Christmas carol. I have a couple of others that I like a lot, but this is the best. And the words are biblical. The words are about living a righteous life, being redeemed from, being set free from sin, which is our redemption, gaining our liberty from sin, so that we no longer have to sin anymore. Because of the grace of Jesus Christ, we are now set free from sin. And, in a lot of churches today, they don't really teach you that. They might say it, but they don't explain what it means. When they explain salvation, they tell you that you're going to keep sinning until you die, but Jesus is just going to keep forgiving you. And that is not salvation. Jesus didn't die for that, because that's the state we were in before Jesus died. And when you tell people that, it's like telling them Jesus died for nothing. Because the state we were in before Jesus died was that we would keep on sinning and have to keep asking for forgiveness. But now, because of Jesus' death, we are set free from the grip of sin. We don't have to sin anymore because of the grace of Jesus Christ that he brings into our lives and sets us free. So anyway, you can sing along with me. I hope I don't butcher it too much. On Christmas night, all Christians sing to hear the news the angels bring. On Christmas night, all Christians sing to hear the news the angels bring. News of great joy, news of great mirth, news of our merciful King's birth. Then why should men on earth be so sad, since our Redeemer made us glad? Then why should men on earth be so sad, since our Redeemer made us glad? When from our sin he set us free, all for to gain our liberty. When sin departs before his grace, then life and health come in its place. When sin departs before his grace, then life and health come in its place. Angels and men with joy may sing, all for to see the newborn King. All out of darkness we have light, which made the angels sing this night. All out of darkness we have light, which made the angels sing this night. Glory to God and peace to men, now and forevermore. Amen. And the name of that carol is On Christmas Night, All Christians Sing. So anyway, God bless you and Merry Christmas.